You know, there are matches in international football that just transcend the sport entirely. Matches where all the tactical sheets, passing metrics, and months of systemic training basically just evaporate. Right now, the 2026 World Cup has entered a state of complete and utter madness. Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're breaking down a breathtaking night of quarterfinal football that turned the entire tournament bracket into an absolute war of attrition.
Because when you get deep into the knockout stages, strategy often takes a total backseat to pure volatile emotion. We literally watched two tournament favorites, Argentina and England, get pushed to the absolute brink of elimination in their respective matches. We're talking grueling, 120-minute nightmares that tested the physical and psychological limits of every single player on the pitch.
The Argentine manager, Lionel Scaloni, honestly hit the nail on the head after his team's brutal survival test against Switzerland. He said, "To make the World Cup semifinals, you have to suffer." And wow, suffer they did. This explainer is the parallel story of how two heavyweights survived incredible adversity to set up one of the most highly anticipated semifinals in the history of the sport.
Section 1. Surviving the Swiss Cage.
So, let's look at how this war of attrition actually built up across the match. Early on, it looked like a routine cruise for La Albiceleste. In the 10th minute, Alexis McAllister thumps home a brilliant header off a Lionel Messi corner. But Switzerland, who amazingly hadn't trailed a single time in this tournament or even in qualifying, they completely refused to yield. In the 67th minute, Dan Nandoy punctures the Argentine defense with a ruthless equalizer, dragging the world champions into a physical, bone-crushing battle that stretched deep into extra time.
And you can really see how Argentina's control grew in these relentless waves as things got more intense. In the first half, Switzerland actually dictated the tempo. They held the ball 57% of the time. But look at what happens as the game becomes more physically demanding. Argentina climbs to 66% in the second half, and by the first period of extra time, they're suffocating the Swiss with a massive 86% possession, just pinning them back entirely.
Now, a lot of that possession swing was heavily influenced by a massive turning point in the 72nd minute. Swiss forward Breel Embolo was shown a second yellow card for simulation. It was a controversial decision that completely shifted the momentum. Down to 10 men, Murat Yakin's Swiss side really had no choice but to bunker down, rely on sheer grit and frantic clearances, and just hope to survive until a penalty shootout. Okay, let's dive into this, because when a team is bunkered down like that, it takes a spark of individual magic to break the deadlock. Enter Julian Alvarez. Having kind of struggled to find his scoring boots earlier in the tournament, he rediscovered his finishing touch exactly when it mattered most. In the 112th minute, he unleashes an absolute, unstoppable rocket into the top right corner. It was a sudden moment of pure genius that saved the reigning kings from disaster right before Lautaro Martinez sealed the whole shebang at 120+1 on a rapid counterattack.
Section 2. Escaping the Miami Nightmare.
While Argentina was fighting for their lives in Kansas City, an equally catastrophic test of their nervous system was unfolding down in Florida. England entered this quarterfinal against Norway under a massive cloud of anxiety. Not only were they battling the sweltering Miami heat, but they had to face the sheer, terrifying physical presence of Erling Haaland.
And early on, Norway's heavy metal transition game completely paralyzed the Three Lions. In the 36th minute, Andreas Schjelderup sweeps a cross shot right in off the far post. England looked genuinely rattled in the immediate aftermath. Norway was just taking control, imposing their will, and posing a massive, constant threat from set pieces, with Haaland and Alexander Sorloth dominating the physical duels.
So, the really crucial point here is how England actually got back into the match just before half-time, which brought its own crazy wave of drama. Jude Bellingham scored the equalizer, but Norway's coach Ståle Solbakken claimed a Norwegian goal kick hit an overhead stadium cable during the build-up. We're just looking at the facts here. While Norway felt understandably aggrieved, FIFA officially released a statement confirming that the sensor inside the match ball showed absolutely no evidence of it touching a cable, so the goal stood.
Before we move to the tactical breakdown, we have to talk about this number, 18. During this match, Jordan Pickford made his 18th World Cup appearance. That breaks the all-time record previously held by Peter Shilton, officially making Pickford England's most capped goalkeeper in World Cup history. Just a monumental achievement on a wildly stressful night.
Section 3. The collision of individual legacies.
That massive 8.9 SofaScore rating? Yeah, that belongs to Lionel Messi. While Alvarez got the crucial goal, Messi was the architect of the entire match. He finished with 99 touches, 6 key passes, and the opening assist. It was an absolute masterclass from Messi, operating as a deep-line playmaker, dictating every single blade of grass to slowly, methodically dismantle the Swiss bloc.
Meanwhile, across the bracket, Jude Bellingham provided a completely different, but honestly equally vital kind of heroism. 2 clutch goals. Bellingham scored that controversial equalizer just before the half, and then in the 93rd minute, early in extra time, he drilled the game winner. He literally put the entire English nation on his shoulders with just cold-blooded efficiency.
And this brilliantly illustrates the contrast in how these two teams operate through their saviors. On one hand, you have Messi's sustained chance creation, probing, passing, constantly wearing down the defense. On the other, you have Bellingham's sheer physical force and driving runs, arriving perfectly in the box to deliver lethal, knockout blows exactly when England's system stalls out.
Section 4. The ultimate grudge match.
Tactically speaking, we're looking at a fascinating structural collision here. Lionel Scaloni is going to deploy his methodical, high-control possession system, aiming to suffocate the game in waves, exactly like we saw in extra time against Switzerland. Opposing him is Thomas Tuchel's England. They might not be playing the most expansive, flowing football, but their absorb and strike mentality is devastatingly resilient.
And let me tell you, when England strikes, they do not miss. Tuchel's side possesses terrifying firepower right now. Both Jude Bellingham and Captain Harry Kane sit at 6 goals each for the tournament. To put that into perspective, this marks the very first time in history that 2 England players have scored 5 or more goals at a single World Cup. If Argentina's defense falls asleep for even a single second, like they did against Switzerland, this duo will absolutely punish them.
But you really can't look at this fixture without acknowledging the history. The bad blood is incredibly real. This is a rivalry fueled by decades of politics and scandal, echoes of Maradona's hand of God against Peter Shilton, the David Beckham and Diego Simeone clash back in '98, and the tensions remain extremely high today. Recent reports from the Daily Express note that FIFA's disciplinary decisions regarding an Argentine chant about the Falklands have seriously irked the English camp. The stakes are monumental and the cost of failure is absolute.
So, we're going to leave you with this to ponder. When these 2 titans finally collide, which system breaks first? Will Argentina's methodical, passing rhythm completely overwhelm the 3 Lions? Or will England's resilient, lethal strike force shatter the reigning champions' defense? Which legacy survives Atlanta? Thanks for joining us for this explainer and enjoy the semi-final.